The M16 and the AK-47 are two legendary weapons. Besides real combat, they've been featured in many movies, video games, and they are big competitors with each other, with everyone always arguing which one is better. Today, we simply look at the differences between the two so you can ask the question and answer it yourself. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to FTD Facts. My name is Dave Walpole, and welcome to a channel where we just do a lot of comparison videos. We do a lot of difference videos. We talk about countries, cultures, peoples, militaries. It's kind of a lot of different stuff. And if that's kind of the thing that you're into, well, you want to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification because that's what we do. Now, for all you military buffs out there, because I know we're talking about a military topic, you guys might be into that sort of thing. Just keep an eye out in our description box or even in the boxes that drop down below because I've tailored some really cool playlists to the military guys. So feel free to check those out. But let's get started, shall we? Let's look at some of the differences between these two great firearms. To give you a little bit of a backstory, the M16 was adapted from the ArmaLite AR-15 rifle. Now, this gun began development in 1959 by the ArmaLite company. Now, it saw trials in the early 1960s, of course, even seeing some combat in Vietnam. During this time, the AR-15 to prove a rather good rifle in terms of effectiveness and carrying weight, which actually stopped the United States from producing the more famous M14 rifle. However, the AR-15, it did have a lot of problems, and because of that, there was a little bit of an upgrade, and that is what created the M16. One major example is that the AR-15 shot the .223 Remington rounds, and the Army wanted to switch over to 5.56. And with these new modified changes, by 1964, the Army had cleared the weapon for production and called it the M16. The AK-47 is of Russian design. Now, it's been around since 1949. And for the production of this rifle, it's pretty much common knowledge that the original designs for the AK-47 came from the German-made Sturmgewehr 44, or simply known as the STG-44. And because Russia had captured a few of these, it was demonstrated on July 15th in 1943 to the head officials in Russia. It was shortly after that that Russia had reverse engineered the rifle, creating their own 7.62 select round rifle, known as the AK-47. And interesting enough, this rifle was designed by Mikhail Kalashnikova, who, weirdly enough, wasn't a gun designer. He was just a simple soldier, but then when he heard complaints from other fellow soldiers, he said, you know what, I'm going to start making guns, and that's where the Kalashnikov comes from. And with that, one unique thing that this weapon has over the M16 is that this gun design created a whole family of guns around its design, known as the Kalashnikov family. Now, let's talk about some simple variants. There is a lot of them. For the M16, it has many different versions. The first, there is the M16 and the M16A1, as well as the M16A2, 3, and 4. Now, there are many differences on these particular versions besides just muzzles and forward assists and rate of fire, which actually, in terms of rate of fire, that was one thing that I always had rather confused, especially when playing a video game. I was like, I don't think that particular version shoots in burst. This particular version doesn't shoot in fully, auto. But with that in mind, there are many different versions that offer different trigger packs, meaning that some are capable of switching to semi and fully, or semi and burst, or having all three. On top of that, there are many other guns that are based around the M16 design, such as the M4, the Canadian C7, and the C8. There's also the HK416, and there are many sniper variants, and much more. As for the AK-47, it had three major different variants, known as Type 1, 2, and 3. And these were all produced anywhere between 1949 to 1955. There was also other versions such as the AKS, which is a smaller variant, and of course a more simplified version known as the AKM. Let's not also forget the RPK machine gun, which is based around the Kalashnikov design. There's also a fair amount of others that are modeled around the design of the AK-47, which means in total there are about 12 main rifles and about 20 other different types of rifles and machine guns based around this particular design. Now let's look at some statistical numbers in weight, size, and all that stuff between these two rifles. The AK-47 has a 7.62 round, whereas the M16 uses a 5.56. The weight of a AK-47 comes in at 9.5 pounds without a magazine, whereas the M16 is a lot lighter at 7.18 pounds. Both of these type of rifles are gas operated and have a rotating bolt. As for effective range, the AK-47 AK-47 can shoot up to 300 meters in full automatic and 400 meters effectively in semi-automatic. Whereas the M16 has been proven to shoot effectively at a range of 460 meters. Of course, what I'm referring to is point target, not basically area target. For the barrel length of the AK-47, it's approximately 16.3 inches, depending on the version, whereas the M16 is approximately 20 inches, being a much longer rifle. However, one thing that is a major difference between these two is the amount of manufacturers. For the AK-47, it's only been manufactured pretty much by the Kalashnikova company, whereas the M16 has had many different ones, such as the Colt Defense Company. There's also Daewoo, there's also FN, H&R Firearms, General Motors, and many more. Now, I'm going to talk about the countries that actually have used this, but let's be perfectly honest, the AK-47, there's a lot of them out there, and it's probably due to the fact that the price for them is really cheap. Because your standard AK-47 starts at approximately $350 and maximizes around $700, where the M16 is roughly anywhere between $1,500 to $1,800. Overall, when it comes to these in terms of production, there's been over 8 million M16s made. It's had many different versions, but as for the AK-47, it comes in at 75 million, with over 100 million of them being within the Kalashnikov family. So far, the AK-47 has been used in 82 countries, and the M16 is present, at least historically, in 84 different countries. So there you go, guys. Just a little bit of a short video there looking at the differences between the two. I know there are so many other differences we could get into, but there are so many different versions of these weapons, so I can't really, go into all that. But if you guys like this video, be sure to give this a big like and thumbs up, and be sure to check out our other cool playlists. But other than that, I'm Dave Wapple, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay? Bye. Okay, guys, so here's some of those playlists that I was telling you about. Feel free to check them out. Other than that, feel free to leave a suggestion in the comment box down below for a different type of video we should do, because we love hearing from you. But you guys have yourself a good one. I'll see you later. Bye.